Madison Bell German Shepherd.
Hey guys, welcome to another training session. I'm Rodriguez Carter. This is Madison Bell Dog Training, and we're going to talk about heeling today. And one of the couple things we're going to talk about heeling, your dog needs to know how to sit. They need to know stay before you start getting into heeling. Those are the two things you really need to teach your dog first. And heeling is a mechanism. And the question is, why do people like to teach their dog to heel? And heel is basically having control of your dog, and also with that, you need to teach your dog to focus on you before doing heeling. This is very important because you can't have a dog heel to you if they're worried about everything that's going on around them besides you. So people have their dogs heel on the left, they have their dogs heel on the right. Now, many dog trainers will tell you the proper way for a dog to heel is on your left, but they cannot tell you why. And the reason why dog trainers have their dogs heel on the left are most of the time sports and law enforcement, because their gun is on their right side. So they have their dogs heel on their left if they're right-handed. So if they have to engage with someone, their dog is on the left side. Now, if your dog is not in competition and not doing sports, it doesn't matter which side your dog heels on. Your dog can heel on your right. If your gun is holstered up by your hip, it's not going to affect the dog as they heel with you. And you'll see in the demonstration I'm going to show you. If your dog is heeling on your left and you have your holster up to your side, it won't affect it. Now, if you have a thigh holster, it will affect it a whole lot. In fact, it's going to hit the dog on the side of the head. This is not good, and it's not safe for you or the dog. Now, again, if you're not doing any kind of competition, and you're not doing any kind of, you're not in law enforcement or any kind of tactical security, it doesn't matter which side your dog heels on. Now, heeling to a sit is totally different from heeling to a walk. Those are two different things, and they have to be trained separately. And again, they all start with sit, stay, and focus. Because when your dog is walking with you, your dog is looking up at you, and they're focused on you and not what's going around them. When your dog is in front of you, in order to teach this, your dog needs to know how to come to a sit in front of you, and you're going to lure your dog around to your side, so your dog has to stay. Because in the method I'm going to show you, you're going to have to move your body around to keep your dog to keep heeling back and forth, back and forth. If you move and your dog doesn't stay, then you can't do it. Now, you can maneuver your dog to back and forth in front of you and back to the side and back to the front of you. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that method. But in this method, I rather have the dog heel, sit in front of me and stay. I move, and I have the dog heel back to me again. And then I move, and I have the dog heel back to me again. Reason why this is good, because it teaches the dog to stay while you're moving, and they get the understanding, that concept of moving. So, in order to move on to heeling, you have to know how to do luring. Luring is basically taking a treat in front of the dog's face and moving their body around in circles, in front, to a sit, to a down. You have to lure the dog's body. Wherever the head goes, the tail will follow. While you're doing this training, you want to tell your dog the command, whatever command you want. Heeling can be foos, it can be boligi, it could be right, it could be left, it could be heel. Whatever command you decide to use, you need to stick with that. You can't change it up in the middle of it, because the dog understands that movement of luring the dog to a sit and stay on the side of your body while focusing with that command. So if you start off saying right and you have the dog heeling to your right, and then you're doing this for weeks, and then all of a sudden you want to say something fancy like foos, the dog is not going to respond, because the dog is initially only responding to your hand movement. Also with this, and I'm going to show you, you want to keep your body still. So initially I will over exaggerate the heel when I'm starting by stepping my leg all the way back and bringing the dog behind me and then bringing it back up. The reason why I do that is because dogs respond to movement, to the body movement of the person that is in front of them. So you always want the dog facing you. This helps the dog focus. And then you want to lure the dog into that position. Once the dog is in that position, you want to give them the command, if they don't already know an implied stay, to stay. You will reposition, and then you will continue on to lure the dog back to that position again. Start on one side and finish that side. Once the dog understands the heeling to the right or to the left, then go to the other side. Now, place is often used as a post in between your legs. So you don't want to kind of do too many at the same time. You want to get them on one before you get them on another. So if you want them to heel to the right, if you want them to heel to a place, if you want them to post in front of you, what have you. But you want to focus on one. Once the dog understands to lure, and the dog understands to place, and the dog understands to heel to your left and your right, then you want to start using the heel and walk. So you want to start this with a simple heel to the sit before you go to the heel to the walk. So again, you're going to watch this, and we're going to do an episode, and we're going to show you with Cheyenne how we're doing it. And what we're using is a mat. We're using 2 mats. We're going to use cones, and then we're going to have the dog lure in from one side to the other side, and we're going to use those cones as boundaries so the dog doesn't go outside of that. And then once the dog understands the lure, we'll start using another technique for positioning. We'll use a dog bowl and flip it upside down and have Cheyenne's paws on here. This is helping her body to scoot closer to me before we actually start initiating a heel from a long distance. It's a lot of different tricky things in it. You do it step by step. Once you get there, it all comes together, and then you can have the dog come to you, heel to your right, heel to your left, heel on a walk, back up, post between your legs, and so forth. So we're going to get into this real quick, and we're going to show you real quick how we are introducing a heel to a dog that is learning how to heel to their right before we go to a left. We're going to work on Cheyenne doing focus and a sit and a stay. This is only going to take 5 seconds. We're going to go over this real quickly and show you why this is going to be important when we start heeling. Cheyenne, here. Place. Sit. Good girl. Look. Good girl. Stay. Good girl. So now that we got Cheyenne to stay, we know she'll focus, and we know she'll sit on command. Now we can move on to heeling. Focus. Good girl. Good girl, Cheyenne. Good girl. Lure her. Good girl. Sit. Then I'm going to slightly turn in front of Cheyenne. Good girl. Heel. And if you watch my body motions, I'm going to bring my arm all the way behind my back. Cheyenne, and do it again. Cheyenne, sit. Yeah, you notice she sits on the mat. I'm not going to move Cheyenne, sit. I'm not going to move my body at all. Heel. She's going to turn. And as she turns, then I'm just going to slightly move over. And if you can notice, I have the cones so that she knows where to stop at and where not to go out to keep me focused. And watch, she'll come sit in front of me because I'm facing this way. Cheyenne, here. Sit. Cheyenne, sit. Right on the mat. Heel. Then I just turn in front of her. Get my next treatment. Heel. And I'm going to do it, I'm going to put the camera down lower so you can see her body swing as I do the turn. And as you notice, in the earlier one, I had my gun on my right side, and it's not affected Cheyenne once in getting close to me. All right, so I've slowed it down a lot for you so you can see the technique and see how she moves while she's doing it. If you notice how focused she is on me, I slightly move my hand out, I lure behind my back, I bring it up, and I lure her up to my side. I start to raise, and I slightly push back so her butt hits the ground. Meanwhile, saying the command at the same time. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to show you. Watch how I turn, because she's in an implied stay, so I don't have to turn her, and I have her facing me. So she gets used to making that turn wherever I am. She's focused on me again. I bring out the treat, and I'm getting ready for position to go ahead and make that switch to the right hand. I go ahead and lure her behind my back. Watch how far back my hand comes, all the way behind my back, and I swing it up, and I bring it up as she swings around, and I sit her back down while saying the command. This is the initial introduction to heel, getting the dog used to making that position. So guys, the method's pretty simple to do. We're not going to get into a whole lot of it and pressure it. It's just basically taking a dog and maneuvering them using a lure. A lure technique is basically taking the meat that you're giving the dog, putting it between your hands, and maneuvering them to follow your hand. Sit. Good girl. Dogs learn through repetition, and by doing something over and over again, it gives them that safety net of repetition. Cheyenne, sit. Sit. Good girl. Heel. And as you do it, and the more you get to it, the dog is going to get better at it, and they're going to get smoother. This is Cheyenne's second time heeling with me, so she's doing pretty amazing for a second timer. Heel. Sit. Good girl. So again, guys, heeling starts with some fundamentals, and if you can see here, I have a mat and it's taped down to the ground with 2 cones. This gives her security to know where she needs to put her butt, where she's going to follow to. I can prove that right now by standing in front of one of these mats and saying sit, and I guarantee you every time I move, she'll sit on one of those mats. Cheyenne, sit. Heel. I can walk away and I can do it again, but she's going to bounce her butt between those 2 mats because of the way she was trained on the platform. Heel. Good girl, good girl. And that's it, guys, and that's how you do heeling. Y'all know good mama. Y'all's a good mama. That's a good mama. Sit. Good girl. Stay down. Sit. And that's heeling, guys. You guys have a good one. Practice heeling with your with Cheyenne. Sit. Sit. Practice heeling with your dogs and focus training. And it all starts with obedience. So you guys have a good one. And stay safe out there, and stay alert, and stay home and save lives. Thank you for watching Madison Bell. I'm Rodriguez Carter, and this is Cheyenne, and we thank you guys for watching us today.
Madison Bell German Shepherd.